Boom, and we're live with Brandon Brown of the Trinity Valley Dairy Farm. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, Brandon. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, where exactly are you guys located? And we'll start with that.
Yeah, no, we're in East Homer, New York, so right on Route 13. We're about 5 minutes from Village of Homer, and another 5 minutes from the city of Cortland. We milk 160 cows on our farm and process everything right here on the facility.
Okay, so you got 160 cows, and you said you just increased the herd quite a bit. If you wanted to touch on that real quick.
Yeah, no, 3 years ago we built a new robotic dairy barn, and we shut down our old tie stall barn. And So we went to all Jersey cows. They're a smaller breed, higher components, so higher fat, higher protein. Um, and then our demand went more and more, and so we had to add another herd. So in April of this year, we renovated the old dairy barn across the road. We brought in a herd of Holsteins, about 40 cows then. And then we needed more milk. So in September, I bought another 50 cows. And since then, we're milking about 100 Holsteins in the old barn, and then uh, still 60 to 65 Jerseys in the new robotic dairy barn. So,
Okay, I've actually got a few listener questions, and that answers one of them there. What breed of cattle do you have? So you have Holsteins and you have Jerseys.
yep.
Have you ever crossed them?
I'm not a, you know, I, the problem is with the genetics, it's tough. So the first generation genetics, and I've done this before, are really good cows. But then you go into that next generation, whether you breed it back to a Holstein or you breed it back to a Jersey, um, that first generation is great, but that you get into after that, the quality of the animal goes downhill pretty badly. So I try to just stick with the purebreds just because um, they've gotten the genetics to a good spot. So it's just a matter of picking the right bulls for the right cows. But no, I try not to crossbreed if I can. We do run a Jersey bull, so he might breed a Holstein heifer once in a while. But no, I do try to stay breed a Jersey to a Jersey and a Holstein to a Holstein.
Okay, yeah, it is interesting. That first generation thing was mentioned to me as well, and I just didn't know exactly why that was. Thanks for going into it for me.
Yep.
Next question from the listeners was, do they try to use A2 milk?
Yeah. So when we started at the Robot Dairy 3 years ago, well, actually, it would be uh, probably 4 years ago. I intentionally selected bulls that were A2. They were tested A2, and our so how that works is you have a bull that's A2. The mother, let's say, so there's A1 and there's A2. That's the protein in the milk.
Okay.
A cow could have be an A1 A2, or she could be an A1 A1, or she can be an A2 right? So A2 is the protein that's more highly digestible compared to an A1
Okay.
protein, right? So to
Meaning
get
that is more expensive to come across as well, I would
Well,
imagine.
really, it shouldn't cost more, right? So
Okay.
it literally is a breeding thing. So if you see it higher price at the store, it's because they're trying to get an upsell because of that. But it doesn't take any more. Honestly, it's not like it's a process in the plant. It's not. There's no cost to it. It's really the breeding that the farmer uses on their cows for their genetics is where the A2 comes from.
Okay.
So the bulls I select are all A2. So let's say the cow is A1. I breed her to an A2 bull. The next generation, the calf, would be an A1 A2 or an A2 A1, whatever you want. So she's still not considered an A2, an A2 cow. So that milk is not going to be A2 milk. But now that A1 A2 cow, that first generation, if I bred her to another A2 bull, that next generation will become an A2 cow. So that's where you get your A2 milk. So what a lot of farms, if that's something they're pursuing, they'll go through. You can genetically test it. So you either take a hair sample off the cow, or where you can take a tissue sample, and which is just basically you clip part of their ear and a small portion. You send it in for testing, and it'll come back whether she's an A2, A1 or an A2, A2 or whatever. So, but I've bred it for the next 4 years. So all of my young stock coming in are either going to be an A2, A2, or they're going to be a blend of the 1A2, but they're next generation. So it takes time to get it that way. But if you have that in mind for the future, it's just something that you do in your practices by selecting bulls that are that way. So eventually our whole herd will be A2, A2. It's nothing that I'm promoting right now. I figured it's just a benefit of the product. So the more people that can drink our milk, it's a win-win for both. So
Okay, so it's nothing that's like incentivized through, extra pricing or anything like that.
no, and once we do it, I don't have any intentions of. There's no premium in my opinion. It's just a benefit. I want more people to drink milk, so why not make the milk more user friendly than it already is? So
Okay. And I should have gone into I'm sorry for doing this out of order. We'll go into the history of the farm next. I guess I'll just knock out these listener questions real quick.
yeah, no. So I married into the family, so it was the Young's farm. It would be my wife's great grandfather bought the farm back in the 30s, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but anyways, so he ran it. My wife's grandfather bought it from his family, his parents, and then my in-laws, my mother and father-in-law, would be Susie, would be Otis's daughter. So she took it over with her husband, and then now it's my wife and I are managing the farm in the milk plant. So the milk plant's 10 years old. The farm is coming on to about 100 years of farming. So it's kind of a cool thing. And then our kids are technically the 5th generation on this farm. So that's the start of it, and we hope to keep it going in the future.
Okay. That leads me to a whole bunch of questions that I want to ask, but that I should ask this question because it leads right into it. What is your best-selling product?
So in volume, it's whole milk.
Okay.
If it's by grab and go stuff like the pints, it's chocolate. So, and honestly, it depends on the area. So Syracuse is a big chocolate milk area, where if you go to Ithaca, it's a very whole milk area. You go down to Binghamton area, it's about a 50-50. So depending on your demographic and where people are, it changes by the location. But whole milk is still our number one seller out of everything.
Okay. I know anytime I went to the store, it was always Trinity Valley chocolate milk. That's for sure.
Well, thank you.
And, obviously chocolate milk comes from brown cows. And I think,
Obviously.
I don't know where you're hiding the green cows for the mint. But.
Yeah, no, secret stash.
How many gallons do you process daily?
So we produce between both barns, we produce 1,200 gallons a day, and we utilize all that through our plant. So we're processing right now. There's a little carryover over the weekend, but on average, we're processing about 1,500 gallons a day, 5 days a week. So we try not to work on. Obviously, we have chores for the cows every day, but we try to keep the milk plant not operating on Saturday, Sunday to give everybody the weekend off. So sometimes during the holiday time, we might have to do a half a day on a Saturday, but we always try to take the weekends if we can for the employees. So
yeah, how many employees work at the farm?
So on the farm side, there's myself, my wife, and my mother-in-law, and then we have 3 full-time help. And then in the milk plant, we have myself, my wife, and my mother-in-law. And then we have 1 full-time driver, then 4 full-time in the plant. And then we probably have another 4 or 5 part-timers. So,
okay.
Yeah.
The next one, directly from the listeners. Do they produce more milk than needed? If so, what do they do with it?
So right now we're utilizing everything, but because of the holiday, we make eggnog and mint chocolate this time of year. So we're utilizing everything, but we belong to a co-op. So whatever we don't need gets shipped to a co-op, and it could go to Chobani yogurt. It could go to Kraft. It could go to fluid milk. It just depends on where the milk's needed at that time. So whatever we don't utilize here, we do ship to a co-op, and it gets utilized in some other facility.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, Going back to the Jersey cows, they yield the higher butter fat, is what was asked.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jerseys naturally they're a smaller cow. They're the smallest breed of dairy cows. They're usually all brown. There's some that have some white blotches on them, kind of like a Holstein. But the Jersey cow is the most efficient cow in the breed. So for what they consume to their output, they are able to convert the feed in to milk the most efficient. So they don't bypass, in the manure energy or anything like, stuff that they should be utilizing. They have the ability to utilize it and turn it into milk. So, and that's the reason why we went with Jerseys, because we also make cheese, and higher fat milk will yield more cheese when you're making it. So that was the big reason why we went to the Jerseys, and then we have the Holsteins for fluid milk. So it's kind of a nice, you get the best of both worlds by having two different barns to keep them in. So, yeah.
So do you keep bulls on the premises or no?
We keep one Jersey bull for heifers for the young stock, and then but we AI all the cows and first calf heifers that are in the barn.
Okay.
So you have better ability to select the traits that'll benefit that cow's offspring. So if the mother's got bad feet, you breed her to a bull that has strong feet and legs. If her udder is low to the ground or is too wide, you breed her to a bull that'll suck that udder up so that the offspring, has the support to hold the udder up. So there's a lot of benefits of AI breeding, that you can make a better cow. Where a bull, if we had a better facility for heifers that was more user friendly, I would AI the heifers, but I don't, and we pasture our cows. And a bull, his conception rate is quite high. So I let him do the dirty deed in the fields, and then we get the cows in, the heifers in, and they make the milk I need. So it's a win-win. He's entertaining. So
has anyone ever tried to ride the bull?
No, but I've had people that he doesn't know, and he chases them out of the pasture pretty quick. So it's entertaining to see that. So never seen a white guy jump so high over the fence. So,
not since Woody Harrelson, right?
Yeah, it was fun. He made it. He did all right. He didn't get hurt, but he's never going to go in the field again. So it was a good learning curve.
Now, the only other breed I can remember just from going to shows back in the day is Red Swiss. Are they particularly good for anything?
Brown Swiss, you mean?
Oh, the Brown Swiss. Okay.
Brown Swiss. So there's the Brown Swiss. There's the Guernsey. There's an Ayrshire. So Guernsey, Ayrshire are both red and white. Ayrshires might have some more spotting or small spots or a little deeper red. The Guernseys are a lighter red. There's the red and white Holstein. There's a black and white Holstein. There's a Jersey, milking Shorthorn, if you call that a dairy breed, and then the Brown Swiss. So, but the Brown Swiss, I tried Brown Swiss about 10 years ago, and I didn't have luck getting them bred back. So it's so they've kind of they eliminated themselves without me having to. So it was one of those deals. But talking about crossbreeds, my Swiss got bred to a Holstein bull, and their young stock, their calves, once they freshened for the first time, were probably the best cows I've ever had. So,
Okay.
but that's the first generation. After that, it kind of goes downhill after that. But that first generation of a brown Swiss and a Holstein was an amazing cow. So if I could have a whole herd of those, I would do great, but I can't. So
Is there a particular breed that's kind of almost undesirable? Or are
uh,
they all pretty much useful for something?
yeah, no, I mean, obviously your commercial farms are mostly gonna have Holsteins, and then if you went the commercial route, Holsteins are 80% of the industry, right? And then after that, it's the jerseys, and then everything else is kind of mismatched, and you never, from what I've read in magazines, I have never yet seen a commercial herd of Ashires. I've never seen a commercial herd of Guernseys. I've never seen a commercial herd of milking shorthorns. And there's probably a reason for that. So usually a farm will always have a handful of these oddball breeds, but I've never seen a big herd of any of those other breeds other than Jerseys and Holsteins. So it's usually the small farms that will kind of gravitate towards that breed, and they are hyper focused on, but they might only milk 60 cows. So it's a little bit easier to manage 60 over, 5,000. So,
True.
yeah.
Are those basically the two classifications of farm? Is commercial and like small, or are there other types?
Yeah, I mean, in today's world, even 20 years ago, there was a lot more 50 to 100 cow herds, right? But now, I mean, the small herds, like 100 and under, are getting, less and less. And, um, but yeah, I mean, it's either, I mean, obviously there's farms that are like 500 cows, but like in this area, 5,000 cows is a big farm. You go out western the United States, there's one farm that has 30,000 or 100,000 cows. So, I mean, where we live, 5,000 is a big herd in this area, but it's all relative to your land base and topography. Like where we live with the hills and the valleys, there's a limit of how big you can grow because there's only so much land, and the cost of making the feed for the cows is uh, it could be cost prohibitive of traveling for 30 miles to get to a field. So there is restrictions on growth here just because of that. What will happen in the future, I don't know, but I have enough land that we own that will be okay. So I'm not. I kind of stay in my own little bubble, which I kind of like. So
Yeah, I mean that's the cool thing, right? Is where we're from, it's not just every man for himself. Like it's a community of small farms, and you guys take pride in being small farms, and not.
oh yeah, no, and I gotta say, our neighbor, they milk 1,500 cows, and 3 years ago, our focus is milk production and processing and distribution of our product. So um, we realized 3 years ago that the crop side of things, even though it's important, you can't do a good job of everything.
Yeah,
Especially with us in the processing side, it's just you can't do everything and do a quality job. So we actually now rent out our land to the neighbor farm that milks 1,500 cows, and they got all the equipment. $1 million chopper, all the trucks, the tractors to pack it. I mean, they got every tool, in their belt for making good quality feed. And so what we do is we rent the land to them. They put up enough feed in our bunks so that we have enough feed for our cows for the year. And they charge us a fair price. We charge them a fair price on rent, and we're right next door. So for them, the convenience factor is huge. The efficiency factor is huge. It's a win-win for both of us. So we actually just started that. So, in today's age, these big farms, they got efficiencies, and they do really a great job of care for their animals. And I gotta say, there's some small farms that I don't think do a good job, and there's big farms. It's all based on management. It doesn't really matter if you're big or small. A good manager or a good, dairyman is gonna do a good job no matter what size they are, right? So, um, but it's a tough. There's misconceptions on both spectrums. So
I think that's something that definitely gets lost on the public is, the people who care most about doing it right, especially when it comes to nature and conservation, are the hunters, are the farmers. Yes, they're killing the animals, but they're they're doing it in a way that has been done for, passed down through generations and generations. And would you rather they all get, crammed into these huge McDonald's style farms? And would you rather, you know, a deer is going to get eaten by a wolf? That sort of, if you look at it that way, it's either gonna trip and fall and break its leg and die a horrible death, or get eaten by a wolf. So like getting shot in the heart,
yeah,
ain't so bad. So I think that's you're right. The misconceptions definitely play a part in that. And then maybe we can expand on this if you want to. But then with the whole climate change, global warming aspect coming into it, and everyone wants to blame, cow farts for huge methane deposits. When you hear things like that, I mean, what's it?
uh, well, it drives me nuts because I intentionally try to stay out of political things, but it's these people that make these claims and are professionals and scientists and all this stuff. They're the ones on all these airplanes, running jet fuel, and what a hypocritical people, what hypocrites to say, well, it's the farmers. Well, no, there's less cows now than there were, you know, 30 years ago. Farmers are the most progressive. I mean, we're making more feed and more milk on less land with less animals, but it's still our fault, right? Like they got to have a scapegoat somewhere. They're not going to give up their airplanes. They're not going to give up their lifestyle, right? They got to point a finger somewhere. And for the most part, farmers just take everything on the chin, right? So farmers in the U.S. don't get to dictate what their price is for milk, right? Um, Grain is set by the Chicago, the CME, for the amount of work that goes into it, you have no control. You go to Walmart, Walmart sets their price, what they have to have for a margin. Farmers very rarely get to do that. So, yeah, let's just keep putting the regulations and keep saying it's the farmer's fault, because I think they just know that the farmers they're just going to take it. They take everything else, on the chin. So why not do that? But yeah, it's to me, it's a farce. It's these people that trying to prove themselves, and celebrities have no business to run their mouth about anything, right? They're out of touch with reality. They have no business trying to convince people the way things should be. So yeah, it's sad, and that's why we, with this new dairy barn 3 years ago, we intentionally built it for agritourism, right? So our goal while we're here is to educate the people in our community, our customers. We've had Wegmans come out, we've had Price Chopper come out, we've had, you know, just regular customers that want to see how the animals are taken care of. Then they can see how the milk's processed, and then they see our trucks out on the road, and it's like, to me, that's going to be the difference is bringing the consumer to the farms and showing people firsthand how these cows, I mean, our cows live better than the people in Los Angeles that are living on the streets. So, like, the last thing they should be doing is telling me I'm not doing a good job taking care of my cows. These cows, live better than most dogs you see in the pound or running about on the streets, or the people that can't seem to feed themselves. But you're going to look at me as, a problem, right? It's like, just mind, they just need to mind their own business and in the end, the consumer is going to dictate whether I'm successful or not, right? So it's and that's that's the market that we're in. And that's the way it should be. If you're a poor businessman, you're doing a bad job, the money is gonna either going to come in or it's not, right? So you're not going to be in business if you're doing a crappy job and people know about it, right? So, um, but with this farm, we've had thousands of kids come out every year. I mean, it's impressive. And the parents come out, and granted, it's a benefit for us to do it because we're promoting our product, Trinity Valley, and it's good for us, but it's good for the industry in general, right? Because the farms that are still in business are doing a good job, right? Like the poor farmers that are inefficient or are not making milk because they're not taking care of their cows are not going to be in business, especially with how tight margins are now. So I think you're seeing more and more of the younger generation that are taking over farms. You're going to see more and more, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, whatever. All these platforms, is out there now, and it's educating people. And you're always going to have your PETA people and these people that, oh, it's the worst thing. Where I'm like, hey, I have, I'll fight them. I'll argue with them that we do care about our cows, we do care about um, all that stuff, but sometimes it's certain people you find out real fast that they're not worth arguing with, and you're just going to let them think what they think, and you just got to wash your hands and walk away because you'll just make yourself frustrated. So, but anyways,
That's the truth. To like the idea that farmers are intentionally, creating this uh, problem of climate change just for profit is hilarious. If you talk to any farmer, it's not like you're wearing a white suit and you got a golden mansion behind you. So the idea that anything, is just to make a buck at the end of the day is kind of funny. But also, like you were saying, you're not going to be in business if you're not doing it right, and if you're not keeping the soil fresh, so you can keep planting. If you're not keeping your cows healthy, then in an environment that they need to thrive in, which you're all aware of, you're not stupid. You didn't just come across this yesterday. It's oldest profession. So you're very aware of your environment, how to conserve and how to preserve. And yeah, that argument always to me is hilarious. And you look at other things, like you were saying, jets, and I mean, just the military alone, right, puts out more carbon than other small countries. So, uh,
well, volcano erupts, it puts up more methane or carbon, whatever. It puts up more. One volcano erupts and it puts out enough in the air like 100 years of whatever humankind could do. I mean, or more than that. I mean, there's an agenda. Everybody with a half a brain knows this. So uh, it's just now who's going to stand up for it, and we'll see what happens. But if people don't think there's an agenda behind all this, their heads are in the sand. So it's which is sad, but people can be. Fear is a great controller of people's emotions and getting things done. So, which is unfortunate, but
oh yeah,
it is what it
I
is.
mean, if you look, I'm not Mister. I try not to be Mister Doom and Gloom and everything's a conspiracy. But if you don't think the fact that Bill Gates owns the most farmland in this country is a little odd, then you're not
A
thinking about everything. So,
little suspicious, yeah.
but aside from that, but going back to the history of the farm, did you participate in 4-H or anything? Did you show cows when you were younger?
No, so my grandfather had a dairy farm when I was like 4 years old, and then he sold the cows a year later. So I was real little, and then but I always remember telling my mother that when I get older, I'm going to be a dairy farmer. I mean, at 4 years old, I mean, it's pretty how that works, but to get into farming, it's not a cheap deal, and so honestly, I wasn't planning on doing it. That's why I went to school to be an electrician. I got a job at the railroad, but started dating my future wife in '09, and she's on a farm, and um, the opportunity came to start processing. So she's an RN, I was an electrician, and we both quit our jobs to come back to the farm. So the idea wasn't even to be on the farm until this opportunity came up. So yeah, so I am first generation really farmer. I mean, my family is a couple of generations back were farmers, but in the last couple of generations it hasn't been. So, but no schooling, no nothing. So it's all been asking lots of questions, going to lots of classes that I can go to every year, and yeah, just asking enough questions to drive my vet, my nutritionist, and everybody else under the sun crazy. So, but it's amazing what you can learn by asking successful people questions, because what do they say? You surround yourself with successful people, you're going to be successful, right? So, finding those people and really listening to them, and trying to do what they do, because obviously they're doing something right. Um, but then tweaking it to your business model, is important. So, but yeah, no, zero schooling on uh, agriculture. So,
Well, that speaks to your character as well. I mean, simply the ability to ask for help. Not everyone can do that.
yeah, you got to swallow your pride pretty quick if you want to be successful. And it opens up a lot of respect from other people, right? Nobody wants to deal with an arrogant cuss that thinks they know everything, right? You got to be humble. You got to have your listening ears on. Um, and it doesn't mean you got to take everything they say and implement it, right? You're going to listen to them, but you can always learn something from everybody. That's what I've always told. I tell my kids this, and I tell everybody, even if it's a crappy place, or they made a bad decision, something bad happened, or something great happened, you can always learn something to take away from that. If something bad happened, well, I'm not going to do that. Or something good happened, wow, I want to aspire to do this, right? So no matter what the situation, there's always something to learn, and try to make your business better, or your life better, or whatever.
Did your did your wife do any 4-H, showing cows, things like that?
No, she just lived on the farm and did chores. So that was her. She lived it. She didn't have to be in the 4-H or the FFA or whatever. So, but no, honestly, so I have a brother-in-law and my wife. They were the only two kids. So my brother-in-law, he had no interest being on the farm. My wife went to school to be an RN. So honestly, if it wasn't for me wanting to come back to the farm, probably the farm wouldn't be here anymore, honestly, because my in-laws are almost 60, and they're honestly, their bodies were pretty worn out by the time we started Trinity Valley. So I just don't think that they would have been able to stick it out for another 10 years. I just think their bodies would have been pretty broken. But yeah, so we're in it, and we're still here, and I think we're doing good, but we'll see.
I mean, definitely. It sounds. I can hear the struggle and the sacrifice and the late nights and the early mornings just in talking to you. I mean, is this something that you want? I mean, obviously the farm life, and it looks great. I mean, you guys post videos and photos and stuff. I mean, is this farm life something you want for your kids? Do you want them just to have the option, or do you want them to do something else?
No, I mean, I love it. Like, I love the cows. Like, I'm not a crop guy. I can't stand sitting in a tractor for 12 hours. It would just drive me up a wall. I love the cows. I like being out in nature. Um, I like that thrill of doing new things all the time. I like that. I couldn't work after doing this. It would be very hard for me to go back to a 9 to 5 job, just because I just love um, the different opportunity, the different things you can do every day. No one day is ever the same. So I like that thrill. I love, doing building new businesses or expanding. So like I said earlier, our plan is to make ice cream. So like there's another something more for me to, develop and grow and but no, I really do love it. But before we had kids, I told my wife that this is what we wanted to do was to come back to the farm and do all this. I've seen it too many times where the parents guilt their kids into coming back to the family business, um, and the passion's not there, and then the business goes under. And not only is it bad for the child, but it's also, you know, for the parent. You're going to always have that regret of pushing your kid into something that they really weren't passionate about. And so from day one, we've always said that we'll never make our kids feel like they have to come back to the farm. If they want to come back, there's opportunity, but um, I'd soon rather sell the business, sell the farm after I'm done if nobody else wants it, to make sure that my kids are doing what they want to do and they're happy and they can have a healthy family, and we can always have good relations. So that's more important to me than the farm, continuing on, is the family life and future of them. So, but yeah, I love it. My wife loves it, and our kids love it right now. We'll see what happens when they get older. Um, it looks like my kids are interested, but things change every year, or, day to day. So we'll see what happens when it gets time.
Oh yeah, I do. I mean, it's it's admirable listening to you speak, because when you talk about the new ice cream venture, I hear that and I think, oh, another headache. And maybe you think that in the back of your head, but you say, which is what's important, you project, I'm excited for this opportunity. So that's, I just think that's really cool and it's admirable. And yeah, I haven't talked to you in years. It's been uh, for the audience here. I mean, Brandon and I went to high school together. We were in the same graduating class, and we haven't spoken really since then. And to see you now, from when we were just adolescent kids, I mean, you're still I can tell you still love to have fun. You're still kind of a goofy, you love to goof around, but uh,
Oh,
the maturity, and all the responsibilities and everything that I can tell you've had to take on so far really comes across, and it makes you a huge, important member of your community. Number one, so I just hope that this reaches enough people and they get encouraged by your and your wife's ambitions and your dreams and your desires to do what you do in the community. It's really an admirable thing.
well, thank you.
I was listening to an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience the other day. He had on Jenny and Will Harris from a farm actually kind of near me in Georgia. They're from White Oak Pastures, totally regenerative farm. And she was saying, she's the daughter. She was saying that the average farmer makes about 14 cents for every food dollar spent, because not every farm takes on raising, packaging, distributing, things like that. I mean, does that sound about right to you?
Uh, so I don't know what it is, for beef or anything like that. Obviously, direct to consumer is going to be your most profitable, right? But not everybody wants to get into the processing side of things, and but yeah, it's. I think you know, so you can easily do the math. Like, so I, I couldn't even tell you, but for every gallon of milk you sell, you make $1.80 a gallon, right? That's what the farm gets paid. That's gross. That's before any expenses even start, right? You go to the retail and you're looking at $3 to $4 a gallon, on the shelf for milk, and uh, the thing is that what people don't realize is how much work from the farm to the store. There's a huge one. There's lots of hands in the game, so that's going to cut. That's going to mark it up. But there's a lot of shipping. There's a lot of there's a lot to it. So by the time it gets there, then the store's got to make 30%. So it doesn't shock me. But talk about efficiencies. To make that $1.80 be and have any profit left over at the end of the day is pretty remarkable, honestly. I mean, to me, I don't know too many industries other than agriculture that, like I said before, do not get to, on a whole, do not get to dictate what their price is what they're going to get paid, and to still be able to make investments, pay for your kids to do ballet, go on a vacation, buy a to show a profit, to actually live a life after the end of the day of putting all the time and effort into it, is pretty remarkable to me. It just goes to show you how intuitive and how ingenious people in agriculture are. And agriculture is a different. It's a very loyal. It's a very relationship based deal, right? So you build a relationship with your feed dealer. You build a relationship with your truck hauler. I don't know. It's people think farming is that nostalgic. You read a book, Little House on the Prairie, and some of that stuff is still there, but I mean, we have a robot milking cows. I mean, it's come so far, and it's only going to get more and more like that. So, anyways, yeah. To make a long story short, by the time that $1.80 and you take out your expenses, it wouldn't be surprising if 15 cents is your profit at the end of that. So I don't know for a fact, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's really what their bottom line looks like per gallon of milk sold. So
No, I mean, if you want to expand on, you mentioned robot milking cows. The reel was posted the other day. Your herd manager checked the screen. He saw that two of the cows needed to be milked. I mean, when did you guys? Is that a recent machine or? And
3 years ago, we built a new barn and the robot went in. So before that, it was a pipeline system. Gosh, that pipeline must have went in the 60s, I would say, or maybe 50s. Don't quote me on it, but it's an old system. But you have to go to each cow, milk them with a machine. The milk goes, milk is great because from the cow to the milk jug, it never gets touched by human hands, right? So you clean the cow, you put the milker on, it goes through a stainless steel pipeline, goes into a stainless steel tank, gets pumped into another stainless steel tank, and goes to a processor, right? So, but the robot come into play because of it gives you a lot of flexibility that milking in a tie stall or a parlor doesn't, right? So let's say we're out doing something. I don't have to be back at the barn at 3:30 because it's time for milking. I can push it to 4:30 because the cows are getting milked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by the robot. I got to come back, scrape manure, feed the calves, do just the day-to-day stuff, where the most important thing is keeping the cows milked on a schedule is being done for me. I don't have to be here for that purpose. So that was a big push for it. And then here I go in April, I go back into the tie stall barn. So really smart. I look real smart going backwards. But anyways, the barn was there, and we're ripping out all the stalls. So now there's going to be comfort stalls in the barn. We got new fans in there. I've put a lot of money into that tie stall barn to get it where I feel is cow comfort you know, I'm a huge believer in cow comfort. If the cows aren't comfortable, they're not going to produce milk. Um, so making that investment in cow comfort um, is a top priority, and that's and when we moved back in there, that was the first thing we did is ripped out stalls, put fans in and stuff like that. So, but it's a great learning tool. The robot, kids love to watch it. Adults that were in farming, 70-year-old men will sit there and watch the robot for 20 minutes, and say, oh, geez, I just can't believe it. Never would have thought something like this would have happened. So the talking piece, so it's good. It's real good.
Would you say, I mean, since you started in the business, would you say that's the single most helpful tool you've been able to use, or has there been something else you say has it been even more helpful?
You mean for promoting or for?
Just as far as farm efficiency and putting product out.
Yeah, you know, for our business, the processing plant, there's always things I can upgrade to be more efficient in there. That's where most of our costs. The farm, honestly, we run it pretty darn efficiently, believe it or not. The plant, we started out with a 6 valve filler, a 300-gallon pasteurizer, and a chiller and a walk-in cooler. That was our starting business. Now I have 4 pasteurizers, 2 walk-in coolers, 2 delivery trucks, separator, a 9 valve filler, so there's always equipment out there to become more efficient, right? So it seems like you're like, okay, next year we're not going to invest a whole lot of capital in the milk plant. We're just going to let it ride. Well, geez, this order came in, and we're not efficient. So we buy this piece of equipment. Oh, okay. Well, that was good. And then it just seems like we've been in it for 10 years now processing. It just seems like every year there's one other piece that we need to get to be more efficient, And so I honestly don't. I've come to the realization that I'm never going to be able to skip a year and just let things ride. There's always going to be something I got to do to be better. So, which is fun though. I like that challenge of, okay, here I'm at. What can I do to be here, or what can I do to get there? So maybe that's just maybe the problem is that Brandon's the problem, and he wants to always do better, or is never satisfied. Maybe that's really what it comes down to. So I might be the reason why this happens to myself when the stress comes. So
You try to avoid mirrors whenever possible.
yeah, just had an epiphany right there. That's it.
Well, it's interesting too that those two had mentioned, and this is for beef specifically. It's not. I can't imagine this would be more in dairy, but they said that imported beef can be labeled as product of the USA if value is added to it once it comes into the country. So as long as, I guess, if you repackage the beef, and it's imported from Australia and you repackage it, you can label it as product of the USA, which I thought was pretty messed up.
Yeah, no, I had actually, there was a law. I don't know if it was a law or I don't know what it was, but I did read about that maybe a year or two ago, that country of origin was taken off or something like that, or I can't remember what happened, but basically I just thought like we're going backwards in that aspect, which I have no clue why something like that happened, but with as bad as New York State is about taxes and all the other BS that we have to deal with, you know, they are pretty darn good about trying to promote uh, local products. I mean,
Okay.
so they do the Nourish New York. So that came about with COVID, food boxes that they put together, but they really, I mean, it was a huge benefit for our business. Like, so it's money the state puts out for food banks. They give them money and they source local food from farmers, um, and they put them in food boxes and they ship it out to food banks. That, to me, that's where finally you feel like the government is actually putting their money where their mouth is. So it's like they're actually taking our tax dollars and investing it into something that I get paid, and then I reinvest it into my community, right? Like
Yeah.
instead of it going to some stupid whatever. I mean, I won't go into it, but anyways, I talked to the ag and markets, the director of ag and markets in New York, and I said, hey, if there's anything I can say is that this program is probably one of the best things you guys have done, and I just give them credit where it's due, and hopefully it continues. And they actually made it part of their state budget now is that funding for Nourish New York. So it's been great. So we're still getting orders from the Nourish New York program, and it's just a nice added income that we weren't expecting to have. So, but it's great. It's really good. So,
Okay. Well, there you go. Props to you, Kathy Hochul. Good job.
I don't know if it was her, but we'll say New York State in general.
So I mean, obviously, we're 7th of December now. It's been cold up where you are for a little bit. What type of seasonal preparations do you have to make when it comes? Hey, when it comes from fall to winter?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we don't live in Georgia like some people, and so we can't keep our cows outside all winter long. So I push the envelope. I try to keep our animals outside as much as possible. So really, from April to November, beginning of November is about the longest that we can pasture our animals. So we have a heifer yard with housing, with a barn attached, so they can go in and get cover. So it's just buttoning up buildings. It's um, insulating walls that you've taken out for the summertime. It's you're just bracing. You're trying to just get everything ready. So you're cleaning up equipment that's in the way because you're going to be plowing snow. So it's just prep. So it's a lot it's a lot more work. So now I got to clean yards 3 times a week because manure, right? So that's a job that you don't do in the summertime because they're out to pasture. So in the winter, it's like a maintain kind of thing. You kind of just you're keeping things going because there's a lot more work now because you got housing where normally you wouldn't house animals. So it's just a lot more maintenance work, maintaining things than in the summertime. Summertime, spring, summer, fall. It seems like we can get a lot more accomplished because we're not doing that kind of stuff. But it's kind of a nice excuse at 5 o'clock when it's dark. I can go in and not feel like I should still be working till the sun goes down at 9 o'clock. So it's a good deal for me.
And there's quite a bit to do on the marketing side as well. I mean, you guys have all the Christmas promotions and things like that.
Yeah, so that's farm side, and then this time of year from November, first week of November till the last week of December, we're full bore in the eggnog season. Our eggnog is in New York. It's in all the New Jersey Wegmans stores. It's in all the Virginia Wegmans. It's in the Maryland Wegmans stores. Our cheese curd is in all the Wegmans stores up and down the East Coast. Our buttermilk, we private label buttermilk for Price Chopper. So if you go to any Price Chopper and you pick up the Pix brand, that's our buttermilk from our farm. So this time of year is just super busy with the plant. We're running full capacity as much as we can in our plant, and we have 2 trucks on the road, and those trucks are going 5 days a week moving product. So so the milk plant is running full bore. Comes January, things die down some, which is kind of nice because it allows me to do, allows us to do. We epoxy the floor every January, so it's just that is just getting January, February is kind of the 2 months that we can do indoor projects and get things done that we just can't seem to get done in the good weather. So so every season has its opportunities you try to rest in the wintertime and just keep things, get your maintenance built up. And but yeah, so that's our time frame there.
And I wanted to bring up the latest cover photo for Trinity Valley.
What a picture.
That's your mother-in-law right there?
That's not, no. No. So our cousin got that, so it must have been somebody, I don't know. I intentionally stay out of the marketing side of things. If Branden did that, it would be a stick figure with our milk terrible picture. So I don't know. Lindsay, she does a great job. She puts all that together and she makes it look nice. So I don't ask questions because I'm better off that way. So, but it looks good.
What's your take on eggnog? Are you a fan?
I like it. But I'm not a big sweet tooth guy. So eggnog is a rich product, and I'm still a whole milk guy. I even over the chocolate milk, people think I'm nuts, but I would rather, out of everything we make, I'd still rather have a big glass of whole milk and with the Oreo cookie or something, So, but gosh, people love our eggnog and the mint chocolate milk. When we pull the mint chocolate off the shelves at the end of December, I got people calling us like, "Well, why don't you guys just make it year round?" I'm like, "Well, because I tried it and nobody bought it after January 1st, so that's probably the reason." So, anyways, but we do roll it out for St. Patty's Day, and people look forward to it. It's one of those things where you kind of gotta bring it back so people want it, right? If you had it all the time, then it just becomes another thing. So. Yeah, so it's good. We like to space it out.
Bringing up the new 1% homogenized milk here. So this is your favorite?
Just
like the whole milk.
I'm the red label guy. Yeah.
The whole milk.
Yeah. But so the 1% is so we started with a Surefine down in Newark Valley, which is about 45 minutes from us. So we are now their sole milk provider for their store.
Okay.
So but they needed a 1%. They needed a few things, so we ended up doing that. We started homogenizing a whole milk now, so the white cap is homogenized, so the cream doesn't rise to the top. But we still make, of course, our red cap cream line, and that's what I go for. So, but yeah, it's pretty good.
What are we looking at here? A little bit of the washing and the...
Yeah, so the rinsing the water is just, there's a little overflow on the jug because we got to make sure, we want to make sure that there's product right to the top. So you might get a little bit of overflow. So we run it through a water rinse. It goes in the crate and then right into the walk-in cooler. So, that milk was from the cows that morning, turned into eggnog, goes into the cooler, and it sometimes even goes out to stores that afternoon. So, that's how fresh we make our product, right? It doesn't sit in a cooler for, 5 days or something like that. We make everything to order. All the orders come in on a Monday. We process it. It goes out on a Tuesday, right? And then we keep making it every day all week long. So, it's a lot more work for us, but we figure it's a better product, so that's why we do it that way. So,
And from what I understand, there's a newest member of the herd.
A little girly there, Dancer. Yeah. So people love coming to the farm because we label all the ear tags. We name all of our animals. So we sometimes you forget about. Sometimes you struggle with names, So how it works is, for us anyways, is the calf's name is going to start with the first letter of the mother's name. So for Dancer, her mother was Destiny. So she's out of 148, I believe. If I read that, yeah, 148. So her 148 is actually Destiny. That's her name. So The calf, the heifer calf, is always named after the mother's first letter. So, you get some weird names like a Q, like we have a Quill. There's only so many Q names that I could come up with. So then you get into the dictionary or whatever, and you get creative. So anyways, it's fun though. My kids love it. That's like one of the little special joys they have is naming calves. So um, we let them do it, and they just love it. So,
And
but
naming things is so much fun.
yeah, yeah, I'm over it. So I'll let them do it.
And then, unless I'm going to bring up here the Airbnb, if you wanted to talk about that for a second, and then anything else you wanted to promote while I have your page up, just let me know.
Yeah, no. So this house here is actually in the background is Faith Baptist Church on the left hand side of the picture there. So 3 years ago, actually the same year we built the robot, we purchased this farm. It's literally right next door to Bosie's and Faith Baptist Church. There's about 60 acres there. There was a farmhouse. They milked cows. I think they sold the cows in the early 90s. So there has been animals on that farm since the early 90s. And so we had the opportunity, we put an offer, and they accepted it. But we had, talk about a godsend. We had looked at this farm forever, where it's located, what it looked like. It just was beautiful. It just a beautiful setting. It's literally a half a mile off 81 exit, and then you got all the housing developments from this farm to 81. I mean, there's tons of housing right there, right? You got Yemen development. So we talked about it for years. Man, it'd be great to have that farm, for a retail location someday. And we were blessed to have the opportunity to get it. And so that house is, we've split it up to 2 Airbnbs. We totally gutted it right down to the studs. I ran all the electric in there. We spray foam insulated it. Every window was replaced. So it was a lot of work, but
You really are a busy dude.
yeah. Talk about insanity. Yeah. But no, it was a lot of fun. And that house was actually part of the Underground Railroad. So there was a tunnel that led from this basement to the house kitty corner from it. So kind of a cool history.
Wow, yeah.
And so our plan is to still in the next couple of years to put another retail location. So we've shut our retail location down at the farm because we're expanding the milk plant into that footprint. But our plan is to come closer to where the people are. I mean, literally, the village of Homer is over the hill. From there, we're right off of 81, so it's just a better location. But we're hoping to, do the corn maze down there and everything. So, and ice cream. I mean, that's been honestly, ice cream was the first thing we wanted to make when we got into processing. The only reason why we got into processing milk was because that equipment became available first. So 10 years later, we still haven't made any ice cream, but we're still in business. So I guess we're doing something right. So,
Hell yeah.
but that Airbnb has been great. We're always full. Seems like from May till, August, with Cortland State and events going on, those 2 Airbnbs are busy all summer long. And then it's just it's decent the rest of the year, but summertime is packed full. So it's been great. It's been really good. And another one of those things where I like to do the project, get it up and running. And then I love to just hand it off to my wife or my sister-in-law or somebody else to maintain it, right? And then I go on to another project. So that's my problem, is that I start them, get them running, and then kind of hand them off for somebody else to maintain. So far it's worked good. So
How's the hunting season been? Any luck for you? Did you get any time to go out there?
no time. No, I problem is we start chores at 3:30 in the morning, and by the time I get done with chores, it's about 8 o'clock and the sun's out. So I figure there's no sense of going out, and I just don't do good. Me sitting in a tree stand or on the ground, my brain just gets racing and of what things I need to be doing, and it just why would I freeze my rear end off when I have a freezer full of beef? So it's just it's hard for me to justify it, but there's people, lots of friends that love it, and I love seeing a big buck, but once you shoot it, then the work begins. It's not sitting there waiting for it. Then you got to drag it out. You got to take it home. You got to skin it. You got to cut it up. I'm like, I don't think I would enjoy that. So I just don't. So I get to spend a lot of time in nature chasing heifers in the pasture. So that's my hunting, is finding heifers in the pasture. So
Well, Brandon, you've been more than generous with your time. We've touched on a lot of topics. I truly appreciate you taking the time. This has been great. I did enjoy talking with you. If you want to talk to me on a regular basis, feel
yeah,
free to message me, text me.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Otherwise, when you get the ice cream thing up and running and full go, I'd love to have you back on. We can talk about that.
Sounds great.
If you wouldn't mind, I mean, we could wrap this thing up with one thing, and you can make it deep, you can make it quick, but I'm interested to hear your answer to this. If you wouldn't mind finishing this sentence, the future of farming is.
Uh, hmm, farming is. uh, well, it's never going to go anywhere, right? Future of farming is always going to be here. In what state and in what ways, I don't know, but um, you know, people are always going to have to eat. That's one thing that you're sure of, and but to what extent will it be here? I don't know, but it's a good wholesome. There's lots of products out there in the world that people buy that aren't necessities. Um, Agriculture is a wholesome industry. It's uh, typically family oriented, and I can speak on dairy. It's a wholesome product. It has so it has so much to it. Um, Milk does. People can survive off of it, right? Like you can live off of milk. I mean, that's what infants live off of. It has all these essential nutrients. It's amazing, but what it's going to look like, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Government can screw up a lot of things, and it can drive people out. I think you're going to see more bigger conglomerates than small, because it's efficient, it's more profitable. Um, so it'll be interesting to see things change, things compound so fast now. Change happens so fast that it's hard to know what the next 10 years is even going to be. It's hard to fathom what things are going to look like in 10 years, what the industry is going to look like. But I hope it's still here for my kids to raise their family if they want to. And I'm a big advocate for agriculture, and for me, I'm going to promote it to the fullest extent that I can. And but yeah, so I don't know. I just know that I'm in it for the long run, and I'll do whatever I can to keep it sustainable here. So
Brandon Brown of Trinity Valley Dairy Farm. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dillon. Good talking with you.
We'll see you guys next time.